Welcome back to Wittenberg Academy's Elementary Latin. The book is Minimus. We are in chapter 11, second half of the chapter. I think half, not the second 2/3, right? We're on page 67. Actually, I suppose we'll start on page 68 and get this part of the chapter's vocabulary. Coronam.
Coronam.
It's a wreath or a crown. Lucernum.
Lucernum.
It's a lamp. Titulum.
Titulum.
Is an inscription, as in on a gravestone, a title, right? Sculpit.
Sculpit.
He carves or sculpts. Olam.
Olam.
Pot. Deponent.
Deponent.
They put down. Sepulchrum.
Sepulchrum.
It's a tomb. Ponent.
Ponent.
Places. Sepulchre, right. Back on page 67. Borates coronam portat.
Borates coronam portat.
Translate.
Borates carries a crown.
Very good. Flavius lucernum portat.
Flavius lucernum portat.
Translate.
Flavius carries a lamp.
Very good. Lepidina annulum portat.
Lepidina annulum portat. Lepidina carries a ring.
Very good. Sculptor titulum splendidum sculpit.
Sculptor titulum splendidum sculpit. The sculptor
Carves, it's present tense.
carves a splendid title.
Splendid inscription, yeah, right. After Regina's body has become cremated, that's right, the Romans, they're pagans, they cremate folks, they burn them, and then they place her bones, are collected and put into a pot. The pot is then put into a pit, with other items which Regina may need in the next world. Fat chance. Flavius et lepidina lucernum et annulum in olam deponent.
Flavius et lepidina lucernum et annulum in olam deponent. Flavius and lepidina
Find the verb.
deposit, put,
Very good.
the ring and the lamp in the pot.
Very good. Borates coronam in sepulchrum ponit.
Borates coronam in sepulchrum ponent. Borates berries.
Not berries. Don't look at the picture.
Not berries.
Ponit. Puts.
Puts the crown in
On
on
the sepulchre, the grave, the tomb. Quite. Have another look at the Latin sentences in the picture story. In each one, find and write down the person who is doing the action, the subject, and the thing which is having the action done to it, the direct object. For example, the subject of the first sentence is Borates, and the subject of the direct object is coronam. So in sentence 2, what's the subject?
Flavius.
Direct object?
How are you gonna say that?
Lucernum.
Lucernum.
Next, then Lepidina is the subject.
Carrying a ring.
Annulum is the direct object, correct. What about panel 3?
Sculptor.
Sculptor is the subject. What is the...
He's sculpting.
He's sculpting, right. That's the verb. But what is the direct object?
Title.
Right, exactly. The inscription, the titulum. Flavius and Lepidina then are the subject. And then 2 objects as well. They put, that's the verb, they put the lucernum and the annulum. So those are both the direct object. And then Borates is the subject, and coronam, of course, is the object. Roman report on page 68. The Romans believed that it was very important to bury their dead correctly, following certain customs to ensure that the spirit of the dead person could rest in peace in the next world. In early Roman times, bodies were usually cremated. The ashes were put into containers made of glass or lead. Later, burial became more common. The body, usually inside a coffin, was placed inside a burial mound. There's only a very brief time where that was followed in Roman history. It's really a Christian practice to bury people. Things which the dead person would need in the next world, etc., they'd stick in there. Sometimes a small coin was placed on the dead person's tongue. The Romans believed that when they arrived in the underworld and had to cross the Styx, they would pay, they would be rowed across by Charon. Don't pay the ferrymen. Don't even Set a price. The coin was to pay the fare. Roman law did not allow burial in cities, so the cemeteries were mostly to be found on main roads leading from Roman settlements. They buried them outside of town. Regina's tombstone tells us that she died at age 30. Why might she have died at such a young age?
She got sick.
She may have gotten sick, may have died in childbirth, may have been eaten by a pack of wolves. Perhaps a tile from a roof fell and hit her on the head. It is hard to say. Barates must have spent a lot of money on her tombstone. What does this tell us about Barates and Regina?
They liked to wear a lot.
Yeah, it could be. They had money to spare. Sure. After the funeral, the family says goodbye to Barates. They travel to Cataractonium, where they spend the night in the Manzio. They feel tired and sad, but are pleased that they could be with Barates. They talk about death. Flavius tells Candidus the famous story of two lovers who died tragically, Paramus and Thisbe.
Like this one.
Yep, so you can read that story if you like. Page 70. Remember that the person who does the action is called the subject of the sentence. The person or thing affected by the verb is called the direct object of the sentence. Latin nouns change their endings to show whether they are subject or the object of the sentence, and so forth. So you should already have all those words in your vocabulary list and should study it. And there you can see the tombstone. And you can maybe even read that. So what is, well, the first is DM, right? That means domina, or so lady. Lady, and then Regina. See Regina? Regina lib. Ooh, boy, that gets tough. Liberia?
Libria.
Yeah, that is like that fourth one can't be an L. Well, then it says et conjugi and the wife Barates, or the wife of Barates, Polyarenus Catularauna, and then aged on the last one, on XXX, aged 30 years. And so then a sculpture over. I can't quite read all the letters, but so again, the story in this book is made up of the artifacts that they dug up in up there in Northumbria. All right, very good. That does it for lesson 11. Study hard, and next week continue on to chapter 12.